Over the weekend, sovereign credit rating agency Moody's downgraded the U.S. credit rating, citing growing deficits and debt. Why did Moody's change its rating? What is a national credit score? And what's the status of U.S. debt? ASP explains. Moody says the government's failure to reduce a trend in large annual deficits and growing interest costs for servicing debt was the reason for the downgrade. The federal deficit is the amount of money Congress authorizes the government to spend compared to the amount of revenue it takes in. And the government finances this debt by borrowing money. So the national debt is the accumulated debt from borrowing to cover deficit spending. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that the national deficit for 2025 will be $1.9 trillion, with the overall national debt right now at $37 trillion. According to Moody's, despite the downgrade, U.S. debt still remains a relatively safe investment due to the Federal Reserve's independence. Although a country's credit rating can impact the amount of interest a country has to pay back on its national debt. Lower credit ratings typically mean higher interest rates, which means the government has to pay more and might in turn borrow more. The first U.S. credit rating downgrade since World War II happened in 2011 when the S&P downgraded U.S. credit rating from AAA to AA+. And the most recent credit downgrade before this one was when Fitch Ratings downgraded the U.S. in August of 2023. For Moody's, though, this is the first time they've downgraded the U.S. since 1917. Credit rating agencies will continue to see how the U.S. government handles debt and deficit reduction, especially following the House Budget Committee advancing President Donald Trump's budget plan earlier this week. Analysis from the Joint Committee on Taxation has estimated that bill would add $4.5 trillion to the federal deficit over the next 10 years.